between Parliament and the Executive, I have not advocated for naked consensus. That compromises constructive criticism unwittingly. Our committees, through the chairpersons, should address the big elephant in the room. We need to proffer solutions to our burning budgetary questions. Besides embarking on domestic resource mobilization as a way to curtail the fiscal deficit, committees should come up with other practical mechanisms to contain that budget deficit. Committees should interrogate ways and means to harness the high unemployment costs which have been gobbling the bulk of our SNY annual budgets. How about putting measures to control the ballooning domestic and external debt of 16.9 billion and 5.6 billion respectively? Furthermore, committees should stimulate debate on how the budget can be used as a tool for industrialization of our economy in order to create jobs and thereby increase the revenue base. In this regard, honorable members, honorable ministers, together, let us fight the disease of inertia. Let us fight the disease of inertia. We sign agreements that ZISCO should be rehabilitated. The implementation period is anathema to economic business. If ZISCO does not arise, I repeat, industrialization in terms of steel spread will not happen. The National Railways of Zimbabwe has done well to be resuscitated, but it must carry coal from Hwange, but Hwange Colliery is in a mess now. Because Hwange Colliery is in a mess, what will National Railways of Zimbabwe, having been revitalized, carry to ZISCO? ZISCO, which remains dormant. And this big billionaire investor, we need the pig to be thrown at ZISCO on the ground so that that money that we hear is in billions should start resuscitating ZISCO. Then Cebu Chemicals will wake up. ZESA will provide the sufficient electricity. So you can't talk of industrialization where these synergies don't speak to each other. Honorable Minister of Finance, crack the whip. Let us crack the whip. Where a deal has been signed, say for mining, why should we wait another 6 months, another 1 year? Waiting for what? So there was no intention. There was no good intention of investment in our country. So perhaps through the Ministry of Finance, let us have a deal structure unit that will ensure that whatever deal is signed for is implemented immediately. Jobs are created, economic growth is established, and Parliament must bring the executive to account in that regard. One key development that has suffered from inertia is the establishment of the one-stop shop. In 2010, there was this fanfare where the former president was invited. The One-Stop Investment Authority was being established. 2010. Up to now, it has not seen the light of the day. How many years from 2010 to now? How many years? That is the inertia I am talking about. That is the inertia I am talking about. The President, His Excellency, Comrade Mnangagwa, has included a proposed bill to establish this one-stop investment center. And yesterday, the committees were discussing work plans. It is my hope that as soon as we get to Harare, you as committees look for that list of 30 proposed bills and choose the ones that belong to your portfolio committee. Once you have chosen, follow the line ministers and line ministries and say, where is the bill? And give them timeline when they should bring those bills for tabling. That's your role, honorable members of parliament. Honorable members, it is therefore axiomatic that as we deliberate during this seminar, we must proffer solutions on how to grow our revenue. Don't ask the ministers for answers. All of us must come with the solutions here present, together, without distinction whether you're a minister or an ordinary member of parliament. On how to grow our resource cake, we must have the answers. We have got the brains. We have got the brains. We have got the brains. We have the brains. Let them explode and come up with solutions. Therefore, we are not here to mourn, but to carve out a national budget through the sharing and cross-fertilization of ideas. The greatest resource that we carry, each one of us, is the mind. Is the mind. You think of any complicated aeroplane, came from the mind. You think of any Sputnik that went to the moon, came from the mind. Here lies the answer, in the mind, provided we activate that mind, provided we ginger up that mind, we'll get the answers. If they got the answers to manufacture a plane, why can't we get answers to manufacture our 2019 budget for our country? We have the mind, we have the brains. We are not here to condemn, but to strengthen our budgetary processes. Neither are we here to praise or glorify, but to give constructive criticism. Let our collective wisdom enhance our capacity to find solutions to our budgetary challenges. When we were under oppressions, we gingered our minds to fight the oppressor. First with sticks and arrows and axes, and later on with the AK rifle, and the other weaponry. And we got our country. We got our country. Others were prepared to be in prison for many years. Others were prepared to walk the bushes, long distances. Others were prepared to cook for those that were fighting, with the danger of being arrested, with the danger of being put in tips. But the mind was determined towards freedom. Why can't we recapture that mind, that courage, that fortitude in making our country a shining star of economic development? Hence, what I expect to hear from honorable members, inclusive of ministers, are proposed solutions. Solutions, solutions, and nothing else. As has been the practice, it is my hope that the new Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor Ngube, will have a closed session with all chairpersons to finally consult them soon after this pre-budget. This has been the practice. Soon after this pre-budget seminar, before he pens off the numericals attended to the 2019 budget. We have to be together in this. We have to be together in this. This will ensure that Parliament's budgetary input is wholly captured without prejudice. Honorable members, lest we forget, the sovereignty of our Parliament demands that Parliament be allocated a reasonable budget vote, which it should manage, itself, so that it can transact its constitutional mandate without any material challenges. If you have a weak Parliament, you cannot hope to have a referee towards a clean government. It's as simple as that. After all, it's not myself speaking. Listen to what the Constitution says. Section 325, subsection 1B of the Constitution of Zimbabwe peremptorily provides that, and I quote, the government must ensure that adequate funds are provided to Parliament to enable it and its committees to meet whenever necessary, unquote. Is the Constitution. Honorable Minister of Finance, if we are not financed adequately, you will be breaking the Constitution. It is not Mr. Speaker saying that. It is the Constitution. Parliament, through the various portfolio and thematic committees, should be able to perform its sacred tripartite roles of representation, oversight, and legislation to the highest degree of competence. A well-resourced parliament is a dignified institution. I repeat, a well-resourced parliament is a dignified institution. You have started, I can see, not to understand. When the vote is presented in Committee of Supply, Parliament vote, I think it's number 2, any debate, no debate. Pass. The test is in the pudding. Now, in the same vein, there is urgent need for the government to prioritize the construction of the new Parliament building in Mount Hampton in order to accommodate the huge demand of office space by members and staff of Parliament. The status quo, where members stampede for seats, particularly in the National Assembly, is a serious infraction of their right to human dignity, as honorable members. This is a shame, as it detracts the decorum of the institution of Parliament. I therefore call upon the relevant government departments involved to burn the midnight candle and ensure that there is speedy progress in the construction of a new Parliament of Zimbabwe. This stance can only be realized if members of Parliament desist from allowing the 2019 budget to pass through instead of passing it after some incisive debate. In conclusion of the Sermon on the Mount, allow me to take this opportunity to profoundly thank the Minister of Finance and Economic Development for wholly funding this seminar. As a country, we are taking charge of our destiny through this and other aligned gestures. I sincerely hope you will invest your energies into the core business of this inaugural pre-budget seminar of the 9th Parliament. I wish you constructive and fruitful deliberations during this crucially important seminar. It is now my singular honor and privilege to declare this 2019 pre-budget seminar open. God bless the 9th Parliament. God bless Zimbabwe. I thank you. Tinotenda, siyabonga, twalumba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the inspiring words. Honorable members, I'm very happy, Honorable Speaker. We have made a saving of 25 minutes to our initial program. I think this is a very good omen, not only to this seminar, but the process that we have started, and I can see a surplus in our budget next year, Honorable Minister of Finance. Honorable Speaker, because we have made time, I think let's continue on that trajectory. I will kindly, I think let's proceed into the next sessions so that we make more time, then we allow ourselves more time for deliberations, because I think we are dealing with a very important subject matter. I'll therefore kindly request the Honorable Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and the Resident Minister to join the floor. I'll ask Honorable General Mike Nyambuya to remain because he's going to chair the next session. I'm therefore handing over the chairpersonship to Lieutenant General Nyambuya to chair the next session. Honorable Nyambuya.
Order. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Jacob Mdenda, the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Gezi, the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, the Honorable Professor Ncube, Honorable Ministers here present, the Clerk of Parliament and officials of Parliament, Honorable Chairpersons of committees, Honorable Members of Parliament, and I've omitted to specifically mention our host, the Minister of State for Provincial Affairs for Bulawayo, Honorable Ncube. Ladies and gentlemen, and let me say all protocols observed. We are now going into our very first session, and I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance to come forward, the Governor of the Reserve Bank, and Professor Chakravat, the Governor of the Reserve Bank. Professor.
Assuming it's on the way, so I'll present. Maybe we take a break. I don't know.
No, I think
it would be nice to have a continuous flow.
It would be very nice, yeah.
You will arrive.